Thanam prepares and distributes 300,000 laddus. In other words, if the laddus on even one day were adulterated by beef tallow and pig fat, then the devotion of at least 300,000 disciples, yes, 300,000 disciples would have been defiled by an act of sacrilege. If the sacrilege went on for several days, weeks, and even months, as some allege, then imagine how many Hindus have suffered the ultimate indignity. But judging from the lack of community pushbacks, one would have thought that nothing had happened. This, remember, is a country where a war of independence was triggered by the talk of beef tallow and pig fat. Perhaps Hindus have become too complacent, viewers, or they've become resigned to their second-class citizen status. Either way, had someone from the state perpetrated a sinful act of this proportion upon the Muslim community, they would have been besieged. They may have even paid the ultimate price. Not that Hindus need to react with violence, but they must at least ask for the basics, a modicum of accountability. 24 hours have passed and no action has been taken, no suo motu direction by the court, no questioning, no raids, nothing. No one, it's quite clear, takes Hindus seriously. Perhaps because, viewers, Hindus don't take themselves seriously. This even when the new members of the TTD have come out and made some more fresh, distasteful revelations about what transpired under the previous regime. The TTD executive officer, J. Shyamala Rao, has come out and said pure ghee is expensive, but cheap rated ghee was used by the previous administration. It is understood everywhere that cheaper the cost, the poorer the quality. That was the case here. National Dairy Development Lab in Gujarat's Anand, which is a highly reputed lab, exposed the abnormalities. All parameters in NDDB report clearly show violations. It was contaminated with various kinds of animal fats. We immediately blacklisted the vendors. Penalties will also be imposed and due legal process is also being followed, unquote. Worse, those in the opposition, the YSRCP Congress that was in power when allegedly the desecration of the prasadam was taking place, has calmly passed the buck, viewers. Jagan Reddy, ex-Andhra Chief Minister, has come out and said Naidu, the current Chief Minister that is using this as a diversion. He has dropped to a new low, lying in the name of God. Ghee acquired from vendors has always gone through tests. Process of ghee procurement is transparent. Only NABL certified companies are allowed to participate. TTD also conducts its own tests to check products. The same report also said that false positive result can also be obtained. Now, viewers, a false positive result can be obtained, of course. Everything is possible. But that would usually happen when the quantity of the adulterant was just above what is acceptable. Unfortunately, viewers, for the YSRCP, the adulterants themselves are in huge quantities, in very, very big quantities. And let me also tell you, viewers, that there are other problems with this theory. And that problem is simply that, viewers, whatever you might say at the end of the day, all these denials will be examined when and if the probe gets underway. But there's no doubt that the lens is once again on the opposition. For justifiable reasons, the opposition has once again been left defending the accusation that it has been casual with protecting Hindu interests, that it cannot be trusted with protecting Hindus, and there is some truth to this, viewers. The Tirupati Prasadam sacrilege wouldn't have happened had the Hindu community had the same rights as their Muslim counterparts. But from the beginning of independent India, Hindus have been discriminated against in law by predominantly Congress-led governments. Now viewers, I will never ever make any charge such as this without giving you the hard facts. And this time, I am bringing out the hard facts which are very pertinent to this particular case. Because of rank appeasement of the Nehru government, Hindus have been deprived for decades of control over how their donations will be used by the state-run temple boards. But while the Hindus were deprived, and here are the hard facts, and they're going to come up on your screens, viewers. While the Hindus were deprived, the centre expressly gave this right to Muslims via the Dargah Khwaja Sahib Act of 1955. So viewers, Hindus, when they donate to a temple, they don't know, they have no control over what the board, the temple board, which is run by the state, will do with that donation. The state can take it, viewers, and use it on another temple. They might sit on it for years altogether. The devotee who has donated has no control. On the other hand, because, as I told you, of the Dargah Khwaja Sahib Act of 1955, the Muslim community, their disciples, their pilgrims, have absolute control over how their donations will be used. Yes, viewers. And I am going to now read out the bylaw 18 of this particular Khwaja Sahib Act. The Dargah Khwaja Sahib Act. Bylaw 18 of 1958, and it says, and I quote, all nazars and offerings, whether in cash or in kind, made by the pilgrims or others to the Dargah, shall be earmarked for the purpose indicated by the donor. So if the donor wants the floor of the Dargah to be polished because of his donation, it has to be done. Here, viewers, you put your money in a box and you don't know how it's going to be used. Now, let's look at hard fact 2. While the state doesn't mandate halal certification, the National Accreditation Board for Certification Bodies, the NABCB, provides accreditation to, quote, halal certification bodies, unquote, under Quality Council of India to allay fears among Muslims that their food is kosher. So Muslims, when they are consuming, know that their food is halal certified, and the government facilitates this use. But similar moves to extend the right to Hindu community groups so they can issue a Satvik or a Sanatana certificate, however, have been opposed. So have moves to call upon eateries to display names of their owners. You know this happened, viewers, just a few days ago when the Yogi government decided at a district level where some of the yatras were going through, there to ensure that Hindus were getting kosher food, the shops that were making those food items or retailing them would display their names clearly. Now viewers, these are but two examples. From 1948 to 1952, the Nehru government introduced a series of bills to codify Hindu personal law but kept the personal laws of other minorities untouched. Then there was the Places of Worship Act of 1991, passed by a Congress government, that prevented mainly Hindus from reclaiming their places of worship that had been usurped from them by colonialists. The Karnataka AHRNCE Act of 2024, just a few months ago, viewers, under the Congress-led government in Karnataka, proposed to seek 10% of the gross income of 87 temples with an annual income of over rupees 1 crore and 311 temples with an annual income of over rupees 10 lakh to be transferred to a common pool. The bill was returned by the governor. All through these instances, the Hindus have kept silent. They have accepted their second class status because in independent India, the Congress ecosystem labeled any Hindu demanding the right to speak for the community or for themselves as part of a community was branded a revisionist, a Sanghi, a Bajrangi, a Hindu fundamentalist. The time has come to put the Hindu back into the Indian, my friends. And towards that end, let's debate tonight, viewers. Let's open this up. Let's ask some fundamental questions. The YSRCP spokesperson is here. Kamru Chaudhary is here. Dushyant Sridhar, a Vedic scholar, is here with us. Rahul Ishwar, an activist who has also been at one point on a Devasthanam, is here with us. Vishnu Shankar Jain, an advocate for Hindu interests, is here with us. The who's who, viewers, is here with us. But I want to begin tonight with Vishnu Shankar Jain. Mr. Jain, your reaction to the claims made by the TTD in Tirupati, these latest claims made today just a few hours back. How do you react to it?
See, according to me, this is a very unfortunate incident which has happened in Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam. Being a devotee and bhakt of Tirupati, it's very saddening for all of us, and it is very disheartening, and it has actually played with our rights enshrined under Article 25 of the Constitution of India. I have been to Tirupati, and many of the devotees have also been to Tirupati, and to know that we have been fed with beef and fish oil, it's absolutely disheartening. It has violated my right under Article 25. And apart from that, I personally feel and I believe that it is the right time that Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam, this act which has been passed by the government, this must be abolished. It should be given, this temple must be freed from the government control, and it must be given to the original Shibayats, to the original devotees, and they must have the right to manage. I also want to see and cite here the contradiction which is there in our constitution. If our constitution is secular, then how can the governments acquire temple? How can the government control the temple?
Yes.
And how can these temples be managed by the government? It is absolutely shocking. It is in violation of Article 25 and 26 of the Constitution of India. And I strongly believe, and my legal opinion is, that it's the right time that all the temples which are within the government control must be freed from the government control. It is so shocking that there is halal certificates which are being distributed by various sections and various organizations in this country. But we don't have a system of having Sanatan certificate, of Satvik certificate, of Om certificate. So it's the right time that we all think as a community about the way forward. And this is an incident which has shocked the religious freedom. This is the incident which has shocked the rights which are enshrined under the Constitution to the devotees.
But Mr. Jain, Mr. Jagan Reddy says that the current chief minister is playing politics. How do you assess the opposition's response here?
See, the problem is with the opposition that we do not see the laws which have been passed in this country and the contradictions which are there in the law. Now, let me cite something very, very relevant here, Rahul. There is one law called the Dargah Khwaja Sahib Bylaws 1958. Under section 18 of this bylaw, the devotees of Dargah Khwaja Sahib have the right to choose as to what will happen with their offerings. This kind of right has not been given to any of the devotees. So for a moment, if you see the analysis, how the Hindus have been discriminated in this country, for a moment, let's take out this debate from the realm of what Jagan is saying or what the other leaders are saying. But the law which has been formulated by the parliamentarians and the legislative functionaries of this country is so violative that we see the Places of Worship Act 1991, we see the Waqf Act 1995, we see the Dargah Khwaja Sahib bylaws of 1958 as well as the Act of 1955. So it is so discriminatory on the face of it that Hindus and the devotees feel betrayed and cheated, that their temples are within their control, and there are so many laws, one after the other, which are against the fundamental features of the Constitution. Rahul, I want to strongly say here that why are we forgetting that era? That we are living in the country that when on the basis of Greece cartage, there was at one point of time, there was a revolution in this country because of the Greece cartages issue in 1800 century. But today we are seeing, we are living in an era that we have been fed beef and fish in our prasadam, but we are actually talking about politics. We are not thinking about this issue as a community issue, as a civilizational issue. And Hindus in this country have been forced to be 8th class citizen, 9th class citizen continuously. And when any government tries to take any step, like for example in the Uttar Pradesh, a step was taken by the Uttar Pradesh government to display the names of the shops. Those orders were stayed by the Honorable Supreme Court. I am shocked and pained, and I want to highlight today on your show that please see the issue of example of temple in Andhra Pradesh, where Sri Shailam temple, where the Andhra Pradesh High Court had recorded, Rahul, that the prasadam and the devotees and the shop owners which are there outside the temple are from the other section of the society, and they are feeding beef, and they are not doing they are impurring the prasadam and the flowers of the temple. This was recorded by the Andhra Pradesh High Court in Sri Shailam case, and the issue was that these shops must not be sold to the members of the Muslim community according to the secular principles, because these shops fall within the temple premises. But that order was also stayed by the Honorable Supreme Court. So the point is, Rahul, the fault line is in all these debates is the word secular and socialist, which has been added in the constitution by 42nd Amendment in 1976. And all these things, all these debates which we are talking about, the front line of defense is that this is valid according to the principles of socialism and secularism. I want to take you to the era of Vedic era, when Acharyas and Rishi Munis used to do worship and tapasya.
Yes.
And we used to know, we were taught that in those tapasyas, what used to happen? The Rakshasas used to come and pour flesh. Same thing is happening today in our temples. If we are worshipping, if we are the devotees, in our prasadam, beef and fish oil is mixed. And the saddest part is that these prasadams were taken to the Ram Mandir temple also. So it is so shocking that if we want to have a defense on these debates, the front line of defense will be, Rahul, that this is protected by the principles of socialism and secularism.
Remember how I began
viewers. This kind
viewers.
of dichotomy has arisen in our constitution.
Okay, let me tell you how we began, viewers. I began by saying that every day 300,000 laddus are produced. If this has gone on for years, just imagine how many people have found themselves. Perhaps if the reports are true, viewers, and the claims are true, all of this, of course, has to be cross-checked, and there's going to be a probe. Imagine how many people's astha has been mocked here. Dushyant Sridhar, before I bring in Narayanan Murthy, before I bring in Rahul Ishwar, I want to come to you very quickly. I want to also bring in Mr. Kamru Chaudhary. We have some time, so we're not running away. But Mr. Sridhar, how do you see this? I am shocked here. Many Indians are shocked. But the YSRCP is in denial. They say this is just not possible.
Namaskaram, Rahul, and namaskaram to my fellow panelists and the viewers of News 18. 750 years back, a polymath, a great acharya called Vedanta Deshika says in his stotra to the Tirumala Tirupati Devata Sri Venkateswara Swami, Ahamasmya aparadha chakravarti karunetvam cha guneshu sarvabhaumi. Oh Bhagavan, I am the king in committing mistakes. The acharya doesn't say it for himself. We are those who have committed mistakes, because Hindus are spectators and we ourselves are responsible for these problems, Rahul. If we get to the root cause, 2 weeks back, while the debate was about a 1,500-year-old temple of Tiruchendurai in Tamil Nadu, which was belonging to the Waqf board, that's what the Waqf board claims. That was the debate 2 weeks back. Last week, it was about pelting of stones. Nothing happened. This week, it's about the laddus. Next week, we'll get something else and I'll come on your channel. So Hindus are responsible for their own problems. Instead of blaming any other community, I would take it upon ourselves. We finally give it ourselves up to 200 units of free electricity, 1,000 rupees of bus. And this is what we deserve. And above all, Rahul, if you ask me about the report, I sincerely pray, let there be 2 or 3 more tests done. Let it come as untrue, because if it is going to come as a concurrent truth, through various research. It's going to shatter the minds of the devotees. And one important point, Rahul, people do think, oh, why do you have to create a veg and a non-veg? No. As per the constitution, everyone has the right to eat what they want. But in temple rules, we have an agama rule called as the Vaikhanasa Agama, which governs the Tirumala Tirupati Temple. You'll be surprised, Rahul, they won't even use red chilies. They use only pepper. They don't use oil. They use only ghee. So these are the rules that have been documented in the last 1,000 years in a book called Tirumala Venkateswara. That is the kind, this temple finds reference in Rigveda, Arai Kane, Vikate, Girim Gacha Sadanve, Shirim Bidasya, Chebishtve, Chatayamasi. And today, Hindus are told there could be traces of beef, there could be traces of fish oil. I do not know if the Kali Yugam has begun or has come to an end, because we have reached the pinnacle.
Well, let me bring in the YSRCP spokesperson, Mr. Narayanan Murthy. Mr. Murthy, thank you for joining us. I have to ask you this question. How can the YSRCP today think that it is completely above question and above suspicion? Let me tell you, sir, that, and here are some facts, that the YSRCP Jagan Reddy government appointed, as you know, the CM's uncle to head the TTTB temple board. In 2021, he had to do a U-turn after uproar over the uncle's alleged anti-Hindu leanings. The uncle had to come out and say, no, I am actually a practicing faithful devotee. Right, sir? This is not to be disputed. Then, viewers, in 2023, Jagan appoints Karunakar Reddy, despite his alleged Christian leanings. Reddy's daughter married in an overtly Christian tradition. This is also a fact, viewers. The YSRCP government could have been a lot more sensitive to Hindu sentiments. Could you not have been, sir? Then, the KMF demands a higher price to continue supplying the ghee. The TTD did not agree to the terms. The ghee contract is awarded to another company. A 50-year-old tradition is done away with to skimp on money donated by devotees for temple welfare. So, this proves something, isn't it? Mr. Murthy.
Can we go one by one?
Yes, sir, please.
Can we go one by one?
Yes, you can.
Now, firstly you asked me, uncle of Jagan Mohan Reddy Garu is very, very, very prominent, serious devotee of Lord Venkateswara and Hindu. He has 5 to 6 cows, different cows in his house, to pray every day, prayers morning, every evening. See, I am live witness of that, the process, what they do every day, the lifestyle. And this is totally the oppositions. It's very bad, in fact, very sad and very bad. Oppositions throw allegations like this. It is very bad. The other one, Karunakar Reddy, is a pure Hindu man. The other chairman of TTD, Tirupati Tirumala Devasthanam, pure devotee of Lord Venkateswara. Not even he has done before 2004, 2009 time also as a chairman of TTD. And now, let us come to the point. TTD has their own system to check the each and every ingredient used for the prasadas. This is no way connected with government of Andhra Pradesh. And the TTD is having autonomous body. They will take their own decisions in the meetings. Whatever the members and the EO and chairman together. Now, in TTD, not only from AP, but also from all various places, various states, members are there in the committee. And this has very prestigious demand. Even central ministers and sometimes PM and different states, CMs, all request for the membership in this board. That means these all responsible, whatever happening in this Tirupati. We should keep it in mind first. Then, the thorough check. I'll tell you the manual check of ingredients used in prasadas.
No, I don't want to
Three
go there right now.
committees.
One second. I don't want to go there right now, Mr. Murthy.
cannot
No,
throw-
just 1 second. Forget about that. One second. I want to pick you up on 2 or 3 points you have made.
Let me tell you.
No, what is the
Somebody
point of
cannot
telling
throw
me
shit
what the
and
ingredients are?
Ask them to wash.
No, 1 second.
No.
1 second.
I'll
Just
tell you.
bear
I'll
with
tell
me,
you.
sir. Have some patience. Listen to what I have to say.
Groups will check.
Sir,
Let me tell you.
your connection is
Three
as it is
different
very weak.
groups.
There is a problem in comprehending. There's a delay. Listen to me. Just give me 30 seconds. I'm not going to take more of your time. I'm just going to ask you a couple of questions. Sir, you said that people in the TDT had their own labs. The TDT says, and I want to bring in Rahul Ishwar on this, the TDT says that it doesn't have the kind of expertise in-house to check for the various adulterants. It had to therefore go.
it is
No, now please let me finish, sir. You can respond. I'm not stopping you. They had to go to Gujarat, one, to do this. Number two, viewers, he says that, oh, you see, the first TDP chairperson is very, very dharmic person, asthika, this, that, the other, because, you know, he has cows and all of that. Now, viewers, if a supplier is saying that, look, we are going to jack up the rates to supply you, and you've had a relationship with that supplier for 50 years, you trust that supplier. People also trust him. You could not set up a diary on the TDP. No, 1 second, sir, let me finish. On the compound, have some cows. The chairman can have 10, 20 cows. You couldn't have set up a smaller diary to augment?
550 cows are there. That's
Sir,
what I'm telling.
then you
In
couldn't
the
have
government,
increased it. You
2009,
couldn't have created an ecosphere. Do you know how much money is donated to you, sir, every year?
That's what I'm telling you.
So you couldn't have
That's
spared a
what
little bit of that
I
money.
want to tell you.
Where were you taking that money?
That's what I wanted to tell you.
No, what are you telling me, sir?
Let
You
me
gave the
speak,
contract to
then you will
somebody else.
understand.
That's why we are in trouble today. Rahul Ishwar wants to come in.
Let me speak.
Narayanamurthy sir, the point is different. Just hear me out for two submissions. First of all, it's a very hurting, paining thing that we have heard as devotees. This is not political, but there is a spiritual, cultural dimension to it. I, along with my family, traveled to Tirupati some months ago, and even for the newborn baby, we have been giving this. So it's a sentimental thing for us that really hurts our astha, our culture, our belief. That's the point. Second, there is a larger issue of Hindu community not having rights over our own temples. Just like my good friend Vishnu Jain said, the Article 25 and 26 above of is violated. India got freedom from British in 1947 led by Mahatma Gandhi, but our temples have not got freedom from the British system. They started, virtually in my state, Kerala, back in 1812, where temples are controlled by the government. British wanted to weaken the Hindu movements. That's the reason why they wanted to have control over temple. Even right now, our devotees don't have a right and control over temples. Just like our Christian brothers have right over their church, or Muslim brothers have right over their mosque. Hindu community is not having any rights to govern and administer our temples. This is a very serious issue. Second, when such an allegation is raised, we need to have a judicial inquiry. We need to have a sitting judge in a high court inquiring this. But rather than being dismissive, rather than being accommodative, just listen to the Hindu sentiments. That many people are simply dismissing it. See, we don't care about politics of either Jaganji or either Naiduji. We simply, as devotees, are concerned that such a painful thing has happened. As
But
Dushyant ji
Rahul
rightly said,
Ishwar,
he's a
let me
very
ask you
tolerant
this.
scholar. This is a
500
pain.
crores, Rahul Ishwar, 500 crores are annually made in money by the sale of these laddus. Are we saying that somebody who comes and says, let me increase the rate a little bit, you couldn't have diverted some of this money, this 500 crores, to say, okay,
Even at
inflation
that
has
point of
caught
time, there was a
up,
controversy.
we will subsidize you. But what you do is, you give the contract away to a person who's telling this channel that, we cut our rates to make the tender process, and then we were thinking of,
And I'll tell you
increasing
just
the
one more
volumes.
point.
Yes.
Tirupati is one of the richest shrines in the whole world,
There you
not
go.
only in India, of any religious place. And second, just like Vishnuji was earlier telling, in Shabarimala case, you may remember, devotees had to fight with the money from our own hands. whereas the officially government administered Devasam board fought against Shabarimala in the Shabarimala case in Supreme Court. Just imagine the plight. The Devasam board took taking money from Shabarimala to argue against the very board. So internally there is no control, and I hope more sensitivity is needed, more power and control.
Rahul Ishwar, let me put it very bluntly.
This is a wake-up call.
You know, instead of milking the cows so that they could get the milk that was required, you were milking Hindus.
Exactly.
For your profits.
Exactly. Beautifully.
That's what they were doing.
Beautifully.
Because they had no regard for these Hindu sentiments, and that's what brings me to the next question. And I'm going to ask this of the Congress sympathizer here, Mr. Kamru Chaudhary. Mr. Chaudhary, I have to ask you this question. Is it wrong then? Is it wrong then for people to say that opposition parties like yours, like the Congress, can't be trusted to protect Hindu rights? Look at your track record, sir. And today, as Rahul Gandhi even tweeted on this, he calls himself a Janayudhari Brahmin. Where is he on this story?
Rahul, if you permit me, though you have come to me at the end of your debate, but I believe you'll have that much courtesy to give me uninterrupted time before I
Just
come to
answer
your
the question,
issue.
sir. Please don't give this lecture. No one else has done so. Please,
No,
and they've
then
got
you
all the time.
carry on,
Get to the point.
Because all through the entire debate, you were talking about beef and fish in the ghee that was used to make the laddus, but you never talked about the pork that was used in those ghee. That hurts the millions of sentiments of Muslims also. Why are you trying to subjugate the entire issue out here? This ghee that was supplied to the Tirumala Temple.
Listen, hang on. What kind of a foolish point is this? No, what kind of a foolish point is this?
You may think that.
No, what kind of a foolish point is this? Now, hang on, just a minute. Just a minute. Viewers, look at your screens. Look at your screens. It's all there. It's all there. The fact that there was beef, no, 1 second. Beef fat was found in the ghee, pork, fish oil, everything is there. It's on your screens, viewers. Now, please, Mr. Kamru Chaudhary, pig lard used in prasad. Please, don't try to divert.
No, I'm not diverted.
It's there, it's on your screens.
Your panelists have diverted it.
It's on, no one is diverted it. Now you're changing your, no, hang on. I want to ask you a question. You tell me, why should Hindus trust the opposition to look after their interests when, even on the issue of what people do with their donations, you have discriminated? This is a question. Nehru discriminated. His government passed this law.
Rahul, my argument is that if the Hindus have failed to take the control of their temples by themselves, why compare that to the Waqf board of the Muslims?
I think this is an objectionable statement. This is an objectionable statement. You have been allowed by the state, sir. That is the beauty of it. You have been given special preference. Then why are you, no, hang on, then why do you oppose the Waqf Act scrapping? Let's scrap the Waqf Act. Yes, Rahul.
You are openly insulting us. Kamruji, with due respect, you are openly insulting us. No, I don't expect a congressperson to do that. You are openly insulting us, saying our goodness is our weakness. Our goodness is that we allowed government and all these things to take care, but we have been denied all the special privileges that were given to other communities.
Don't hurt the Hindu community. No one is giving you the license, Mr. Kamru Chaudhary, to do this. This is very wrong.
No, you cannot go on whataboutery and link.
What do you mean whataboutery? I'm sorry, but the Congress gave you special privileges. You are only getting the right, no, hang on, you are only getting the right to run your own places of worship because of a scam, a legal scam, viewers.
What has got to do with
it? Isn't got to do anything with anything. It is a legal scam. That's what it is. And it has been born out of a sense of appeasement. Do not, Mr. Chaudhary, tonight try to, no, don't blame the Hindus. Stop doing this. You blame the Hindus when they are at the receiving end. You blame the Hindus when...
Not in the halal certification for soap. I request all Hindus to use halal certification.
Vedic scholar, soap. 1 second. The Vedics, and I also want to bring in Vishnu Shankar Jain on this legal point. 1 second. Dushyant Sridhar wants to come in, and on this opposition point that Kamru Chaudhary is raising, I'll bring in Vishnu Shankar Jain. Yes.
Rahul, very quick intervention.
Yeah.
Kamruji and I have participated on many panels and many TV debates. My namaskarams to him. But, you know, as a fellow human being, as a fellow Bharatiya, you know, at the outset, you would expect he's a devout Muslim. He has sentiments for fellow Hindus. You would expect him to say, when Hindus are hurt, I feel hurt. this should be investigated. You know, how long does it take for a fellow human being to say that? Rather, he ends up pinpointing the Hindus, stating that, oh, the Waqf board, that's very insensitive. I felt as a Hindu, I felt it as very insensitive. And Rahul Ishwar's speeches I follow very intensely. I have immense respect for him. But you know, at the outset, he said something I found. He said, I didn't expect the Congress to do this. So I found that statement, who else can do it to the Hindus, if not the Congress?
Okay, well, let me just bring in on that point, Vishnu Shankar Jain. The charge is that opposition parties like the Congress cannot be trusted with protecting Hindu interests. Do you agree, sir?
Absolutely. I'm saying it with a strong sense of responsibility. The opposition is completely not having any kind of interest to have any protection for Hindu interest. And kindly see the conduct. If you want to judge any opposition, you have to judge the opposition by the laws which they have brought during their tenure. This law which I am citing in front of you today, Dargah Khwaja Sahib Act of 1955 and the bylaws of 1958. Who brought this law? Whether there is any such law for any other section of the society, who has brought the Endowments Act in Karnataka in 1997, in Tamil Nadu, in Andhra Pradesh, Tirupati Devasthanam Act? Who has brought these laws, Rahul? Who has brought the Places of Worship Act 1991? Who has brought the Waqf Act 1995? Who has brought the Sachar Committee? Who has brought the Minority Commission Act 1992? So, and the Minority Education Act 2004. So all these laws, if you will see and read, it shows that the majority community in this country have been forced to be a second-grade citizen, and whenever they try to raise their voice is curbed on the touchstone of secularism.
Well, viewers, there is a pattern here. Judge through actions. I'm not going to say anything more because Kamru Chaudhary will get upset. He'll say something. I don't want to. Just go out there, viewers, and check which governments have actually brought in laws that disadvantage one community over another, one religion over another. Do your own homework. Come to your own conclusions. I have given you certain hard facts. If you find a problem in one of those hard facts, get back to me. I'm on Twitter. You can contact me here. You can challenge me on my facts, on my research. But viewers, my research is unimpeachable. What I'm telling you is the fact. Now you can have all the facts, but you can sit on them and do nothing about them. That, viewers, is the trouble. That is the trouble. I give you actionable facts. Use them. Go to the courts of law. Demand the basics here. Accountability. Nothing more. And if you are not going to make those demands, then don't blame somebody else who has taken the system for a ride and taken you for a ride. Don't. I need to move on, viewers, because what I'm going to show you requires some viewer discretion. This is a story of criminal entitlement. It's a story of a man who thinks his status allows him to break the law and endanger other humans. And I'm talking about the man in the middle of your screens, viewers. It is ultimate Baap Ka Raj mentality on his part. Had it not been all caught on camera, the driver of an SUV driving on the wrong side of the road at high speed would have got away by now after mowing down a motorcycle-born youth. Look at the pictures to the left of your screens, viewers, closest to where I am. You're going to see, viewers, a motorbike. There you can see it. It's going at a fair speed, but it's turning a corner. And suddenly it crashes into an SUV. Viewers, as these visuals show, the 23-year-old biker, Akshat Garg, never stood a chance. Garg could never have ever expected to crash into someone driving the wrong way when he went into a bend in the road. The cruel irony is that the SUV driver, Kuldeep Kumar Thakur, the man in the middle who's got out of that car, shouldn't have even been on the road. According to reports, he was not carrying a license and had been docked several times for driving on the wrong side of the road. The police arrested the car's driver, identified, as I told you, as Kuldeep Kumar Thakur, on the spot. According to the police, the accused is a Delhi resident who owns a firm that handles social media campaigns for elections. His car bore a BJP party ticker. Perhaps that came in use as Thakur was given bail within hours. This is because the FIR was registered against Thakur under several sections which carry a light penalty. There was no culpable homicide not amounting to murder charge. But quite frankly, when someone is driving on the wrong side of the road, they are making a deliberate, if not premeditated choice. Which is why the punishment for driving on the wrong side of the road and endangering humanity at large should be far greater, viewers. It should be murder, in my book. The car, as we all know, can turn into a lethal weapon if not handled with care. Besides, Thakur was, as already pointed out, a repeat offender and didn't even have a license, which also suggests that he knew fully well that he should not have been on the road. Forget about being on the wrong side of it, viewers. When someone kills, even when they know they have the potential to do so, then how is it that they were not prosecuted under a more stringent section of the law? The victim's mother is distraught. She rightly wants to know on what basis was Thakur let off so lightly. It's a question that all of India is asking tonight, viewers. First, listen to Akshat Garg's grieving, shattered mother. Listen.
मेरी यही मांग है कि मेरे बच्चे को इंसाफ मिले और मुझे कुछ नहीं चाहिए। एक गलत इंसान ने एक मेरे बच्चे को मार दिया, बस मुझे इससे कुछ नहीं है। क्यों उसको छोड़ा गया, मेरे को यही है कि क्यों छोड़ा गया उसको, क्यों छोड़ा गया कि भाई मेरा बच्चा चला गया, लेकिन वो आराम से सोया है उस रात, वो आराम से सोया, क्यों पुलिस ने उसको छोड़ा। बस मुझे यही बोलना है कि भाई मेरा बच्चा जो हमारा परिवार चला, हमारे बीमार माँ बाप की सेवा करता, छोटी बहन को पालता, हमारे पालने वाला हमारा बच्चा चला गया और पुलिस क्यों नहीं हेल्प कर रही है हमारी।
Viewers, this is not rash driving. Even I don't agree with what is written at the bottom of the screen. Rash driving menace. Rash people are those that unthinkingly do things. This is not rashness, viewers. As I told you, this is criminal entitlement. This is बाप का राज mentality. मैं कहीं भी गाड़ी चला लूँ. I can drive my car wherever I feel. Whatever the consequences be damned. Now, viewers, is our justice system that is so compromised, can it develop a bit of a spine and tell Thakur and all the other Thakurs out there who are driving on the wrong side of the road that they will be booked and thrown into jail and the keys will be thrown away? I want to bring in Shashikant, former IPS officer. Mr. Shashikant, thank you for speaking with us. Should a murder charge, culpable homicide, not in this case, I think it should be murder because this man didn't have a license. He knew he was driving on the wrong side of the road. He knew before he started from home that he should not even be on the road. So there is all premeditation. He says, चलता है, निकल जाएंगे, क्या problem है? हर रोज करता हूँ मैं.
You're absolutely right, sir. I'm happy to talking to you. We're talking for the first time, I think. There are lots of things out there which I see. Like whatever time it was, that it is certainly obvious that the police was mixed up. Yes, courts have said that the bail is a rule, but within what span of time? It doesn't mean within 5 minutes you say, okay, man, you've given bail because this is the rule. And then, did the police conduct any kind of test on him? Whether it's a dope test or whether it's alcohol test or whatever it is? When the case was presented to the magistrate, did they really put in the charges that he was a repeat offender?
No.
I don't think any of these things have done.
Absolutely. And where does that leave us? Let me bring in Ishkaran Bhandari on this point. Mr. Shashikant has raised some 3 or 4 very important points, Mr. Bhandari. Why hasn't this... I feel he should be charged for murder. Correct me if I'm wrong. The man started out from his house knowing fully well he shouldn't be on the road, but he didn't care. That's premeditation for me. When you know that you're about to commit a felony.
Rahul, in this country, there is a perception that the rich, the powerful, the connected can escape with murder, and this appears to be a case which justifies that perception. The law is settled now. If you drink and drive a car, the courts say it is culpable homicide not amounting to murder. I can give you multiple cases where the courts have rejected bail, saying if you are drinking, then you knowingly are doing an act which is so inherently dangerous when you're drinking and driving a car. One case I just want to quote to you, Ritu Dinesh Malu, who visited a pub with her friend, drank, and then an incident happened. Initially, police booked it under the same sections. The High Court said no bail. When you drink and drive, it's culpable homicide, not amounting to murder. Or the case which happened in Delhi in New Year's Eve, where a car dragged a woman. They were all drunk on New Year's Eve, and the courts held that it is culpable homicide, not amounting to murder. In that case, the police also booked him under the right sections. If you come on the wrong side of the road, a car is a weapon. You're coming on the wrong side of the road. The person who's on the right side of the road, he has no knowledge you could be coming from that side. Then you are knowingly doing an action which you know will endanger the life of the other person because he is in the right. So this action is not negligent driving. That is, maybe it's instead of 60 you're driving at 62. You can say, okay, half of 2, 3, 4 kilometers you don't realize that you're overspeeding. That could be a negligent thing which could be covered. But if you're deliberately, a car is a massive weapon. The impact when it collides with something, we have seen how the death is caused. Also, you are risking your own life. If the bus was coming from the other side, the person driving the car probably would be dead or seriously injured. So it is very clear, you cannot get bail if you are driving on the wrong side of a one-way road at a good speed, and that results in death. That at the very least, if not murder, has to be culpable homicide, not amounting to murder, a non-bailable section, and the person has to go to jail. And if there are other factors, then it can be a murder case also.
Other factors, viewers, those other factors will weigh in, provided, of course, that the police is committed to providing the gargs, the family, the mother that is grieving, justice. Just look at these pictures, viewers. Just look at these pictures. The impunity is what is shocking. Ishkan Bhandari, it's the impunity, this Baap Ka Raj mentality. I can drive wherever because I have a big car and I have political connections.
Rahul, there are two aspects. One, the person driving. Second, the sections he's been booked under. That is the discretion of the people, the police booking him under the sections. So that also has to be called into question, why you are not booking a person under the culpable homicide section, and the courts have given judgments on this issue. It's not a fresh issue anymore. If you are inherently driving a car after drinking, and I think driving on the wrong side is more dangerous than driving after drinking because it is bound to have an impact if anybody is coming from the other side, then the person has to be booked under culpable homicide, not amounting to murder.
Yeah, my point is that it certainly is not culpable homicide amounting to murder. When this guy was driving that car at that speed in wrong lane, in all possibility, he knew that it can and it's going to cause an accident where some person will die. A kind of intent will be there, which I can always argue if I go to the court, and that in such cases, it is not culpable homicide amounting to murder, it is a murder, because that kind of knowledge was there, that this kind of accident can kill persons and they can really finish off this person. Well, I just wanted to counter the point made by the advocate Saha.
Well, I'll tell you, viewers, that this person should be made an example of, so no one else dares to drive on the wrong side of the road. We've all lost friends, family, to this kind of criminal entitlement, viewers, premeditated criminal entitlement. Let's stop it. Let's put pressure on the police. CNN News 18 will be following up this story like a bloodhound. I leave it at this, viewers. I leave it at this. Anand Narasimhan coming up with the right stand.
Against Article 370, no. They talked about self-rule. They endorsed the 370. They spoke about talking with Pakistan. They spoke about trade with Pakistan. Why did the BJP form the government with them? Why was
I'm sure Rohan Gupta, you'd like to respond to that. That's a very valid question being posed by Nasrullah.
Absolutely. I don't shy away from the
Yes,
questions,
yes.
and I will answer the question. But after that, I need answer from Congress and NC board. See, there is a difference between pre-poll alliance and a post-poll alliance. That was the election where there was no clear-cut majority to any party. And after the elections, if you form the government, obviously there will be common minimum program where you don't agree with all the points. But when you go into pre-poll alliance, it is a very clear-cut thing that both the parties align in their manifesto. And that is the question Congress party is not able to answer. Akanksha, it's not about one state. Again, I'm telling you, Jammu Kashmir is a very crucial state to us. Maybe NC can have their own compulsions. But the question is to Congress party, what is their stand? They are not very clear on 370. They are dilly-dallying both the seas. You cannot go do like that. Because if Pakistan is supporting, endorsing your views, there is something seriously wrong with your view. Same way, if Pannu, the terrorist, he supports Congress party leaders' views, then there is something serious with their views. So that question needs to be asked, and there should be.
And that's a question I'll be taking from Ashpreet, but let me quickly go across to Lieutenant General Dua. Sir, thank you so much for so patiently awaiting your turn. Since I was referring to what we've seen happen to that resolution in the year 2000, do you think that such a new promise is only based on a failed legacy, since we've seen what happened to that resolution, and that the priorities of the electorate of Jammu and Kashmir have already changed? They know what the security apparatus was like prior to the abrogation of Article 370. Do you not think that this is also misleading the people of Jammu and Kashmir?
Thank you for giving me the opportunity after all the politics is done. Allow me to start by saying that unlike the Pakistan army, Indian army is totally apolitical. So I will steer clear of any political views. About the security situation.
Rohan, if I could begin with you, first of all, I'm sure the Congress would say that no such promise of, returning to Article 370 has been made in the Congress manifesto. Then why be concerned about what the Pakistan Defence Minister is saying?
See, you cannot just say that it is not there in your manifesto. You are fighting this election in pre-poll alliance. You have seen National Conference manifesto. They are talking about talks with Pakistan, trade with Pakistan, 360, 370. NC's manifesto is very clear. When you are fighting election in pre-poll alliance, that clearly shows what are your views. And these are not my words. These are words of Pakistan Defence Minister, where he clearly endorses views of Congress and NC. So I think the question is that why our opposition, why our enemies are supporting your views. This is the first time in history of Indian politics the opposition party is supported by our enemy, and still they have no answer for that. So I think there are questions which Congress party and NC needs to answer, that why Pakistan is happy with their stance. If your enemy is happy with your stance, it means that stance is wrong. So I think Congress will have to come clean. What is their clear-cut agenda for future? Otherwise, people of the country will not leave them.
All right, Ashpreet Khadiyal, let's have it straight from the horse's mouth. What explains the Congress party's silence when all of this chatter is going on? We've heard National Conference's view. It's very much on the manifesto, and you may say that you've not made any such promise, but you're very much in alliance with the NC. So what explains the silence?
Well, the logic that has been given by the Bharatiya Janata Party and the spokesperson here is that a person has supported your statement, therefore you are responsible for that. That is the logic that they've given. First and foremost, if Mr. Modi gives a statement and an ABC or any sort of person with any sort of history background
Prime Minister Narendra Modi is coming on a landmark 3-day visit to the United States of America, and CNN News 18 is in the US to track every engagement of the Prime Minister. Mr. Modi would be first going to Delaware, the hometown of US President Joe Biden, for the Quad Leader Summit. He would then be in New York, in Long Island, for a big community event. Mr. Modi on September 23rd will be at the UNGA Summit of the Future, where a key address will be given by Mr. Modi. Is the Prime Minister of India coming as a big messenger of peace to the United States after his visits to Russia and Ukraine? Join me, Aman Sharma and Manoj Menon as we track every engagement of Prime Minister Narendra Modi in the US.
At L'Oréal Group,
comments upon it, supports the statement of Mr. Modi. Would it have anything to do with Mr. Modi? Would Mr. Modi be held responsible for that? Would he be accountable for that? And if you do give this logic and if you're ready to implement it on yourself, I won't give you examples of these kind of people supporting your statements. I'll give you example of Tariq Ahmed Mir, a person who was given ticket by the Bharatiya Janata Party in 2014, who was arrested in 2020 by the NIA because he was procuring weapons for Hizbul Mujahideen commander Naveed Babu. I'll give an example of Talib Hussain Shah, the BJP's office bearer, who was Lashkar-e-Taiba's terrorist, who was captured by the locals. I'll give an example of Dhruv Saxena, 2017 BJP office bearer, who was found to have links with the ISI.
All right, I'm going to actually take those examples from Rohan Gupta, but you've still not answered my question. Why not go on record and condemn everything that is being said by Khwaja Asif today?
Well, number one, it has not. I mean, the logic that I've given makes it crystal clear as to why we do not have to respond to that. It has nothing to do with us. It has nothing to do
with you when you are in an alliance with NC that has promised to come back or return to Article 370.
One second.
What is the Congress position is very important. You release your manifesto on last day of campaigning. Still, nobody knows if you will continue your support as far as NC is concerned when it comes to the promise of returning to Article 370. There's been no talk about that. There's been no condemnation. This when Rahul Gandhi himself said that they do not approve of the kind of terror that is emanating from Pakistan. And so what is your position when it comes to trade and dialogue with Pakistan, something that's been endorsed in the NC manifesto?
Our position is one, that the BJP gives us Pegasus for a day so that we can tell who gives a direction from here, and it gets followed in Pakistan by the top leadership, by the ministers. Number two, we all remember the Pakistan frame that the BJP has when Mr. Modi went to Pakistan, hugged Nawaz Sharif, the then Prime Minister, had Kashmiri chai with him, had biryani with him, broke the protocol, sat in his chopper. The very country...
you have still not answered the question. You are harping back to what happened in the past. Two wrongs will not make a right.
Nobody is saying that. I'm answering a question. It has nothing to do with us. It's not in our manifesto. We haven't said it. However, the BJP...
But you are in alliance with NC. Rohan Gupta, please go ahead.
The BJP had terrorists in their party.
Okay, what about giving tickets to terrorists? Rohan Gupta.
A very simple question to Congress spokesperson, and he is not answering the question because he doesn't know the answer. See, the question is very, very simple. When you are in triple alliance with somebody and they declare the manifesto, either you have to say you are with them or you are not with them. You cannot be everywhere. They are very, very clear. NC's manifesto has been very clear. They want separate flag. They will return Article 370. They want trade with Pakistan. They want talks with Pakistan. The question is very simple, whether Congress party endorses these views or not. If not, then why they are in triple alliance? Number two, now Pakistan has also endorsed this view. So does that mean that our enemy Pakistan, don't speak in between. I never spoke in between, right? So does that mean that if Pakistan stands, if Pakistan wants return of 370, do you feel that is good for the country? I think it's a big question to a national party. It's not only about Jammu and Kashmir. It's a repercussion. Since Congress is the national party, the repercussion is all across the country. You cannot just play around in between. Not here, not there. You should
Nasir
be very
Lone,
clear.
I'd like to bring you in. Okay, let me also bring in the National Conference spokesperson, Nasir Lone. Nasir, I'm sure such...
Namaste, Jai Hind, and welcome to this edition of The Right Stand. And we are going to focus on the one big act that is a telling blow on Hindu Astha and faith, ladies and gentlemen, and of course an outright insult of the Lord Venkatesha and his devotees at the Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam. But the larger question is this perhaps just the tipping point? Is this just the tip of the entire gamut of aspects that have dented Hindu Astha over the last several decades, if not more? And is it high time that we reclaim our temples? Joining us is J. Sai Deepak, lawyer and a very, very ardent advocate of the need to free Hindu temples from state control. Sai Deepak, your first reaction on what's happened at Tirupati?
Frankly, I have multiple reactions because I don't know where to begin. One,
I think in 1857, a revolt was sparked by the use of, let's say, cow fat, so to speak, in a weapon. And today we are looking at a situation where the incipient reactions from the Hindu community to beef and tallow and fish oil being offered to a deity doesn't inspire the same kind of reactions. And I'm sorry, when I say reactions, it can't be just a social media outrage. I would say at the very least, Hindus should hit the streets peacefully. That is the least that I can expect. And if you don't do that, there is absolutely no pressure on anyone, because I'm sorry to say I have very little faith in any political stakeholder, because most of them will use it only to score brownie points. Okay? Will this lead to a long-term change or reaction in terms of addressing the central issues in question? Most importantly, at least as far as the state of Andhra Pradesh is concerned, will this lead to action being taken on the missionary nexus that has been ruining the state at least since 2004, ever since Rajshekar Reddy took over? And it has only worsened under Jagan Reddy and his sister Sharmila, even worse. So these are the central questions. I'm not going to for a moment play down the sacrilege and the desecration that's been committed on the deity, on the temple, on the believers, on the faith system as a whole. That is certainly one issue. But why did it happen? What are the underlying causes? What are the triggers? That is something that we need to focus on. Okay? For at least 20 years, or even more systematically, there has been a rapid demographic change in Andhra Pradesh, that is even including undivided Andhra Pradesh, prior to its bifurcation. Okay? And subsequently, it has only worsened to the extent that if you go to any of the coastal districts of Andhra Pradesh, you will find on any given day, not necessarily a Sunday, on any given day, you will find rent-a-cars, freelance pastors and missionaries roaming the streets with speakers on cycles or in autos, asking Hindus to convert. Okay? This has been going on. So this is not as if this is happening in some foreign land, this is happening in the heartland of the south. And Andhra Pradesh, for all practical purposes, is named after two different deities. So one is, of course, the word Telugu itself comes from Trilinga Desha, okay, because of the Shiva Kshetrams which are actually present there.
Yes.
And it has the Pancharama Kshetras there, okay, where there are at least 5 temples which are dedicated to Lord Ram because of visit to that place. Okay, Bhadrachalam being one of the foremost examples. Okay, in such a state, with its deep commitment to Hinduism, with its huge commitment to Sanatana Dharma, and a rich history of having produced stalwarts of Hinduism, including, for that matter, I would say, Tyagaraja and others. Of course, Tyagaraja comes from the Tanjore side of the south. With this kind of a commitment, imagine what they are going through. And the worst part is, people on the ground have been saying this at least for the last 10 years, that there is something seriously afoot, to the extent that even Bharat Mata statues which are placed in those parts of coastal Andhra, where there is a huge change in demographic, let's say, balance, they've been desecrated, they've been broken. We are not even looking at a Hindu deity, you're looking at Bharat Mata. That is supposed to be, at the very least, as secular as it can get in terms of deities and the pantheon of deities. Even that is not acceptable in certain places.
How do we address it? How do we reclaim temples? How do we repose or